A man wakes up, opens his eyes to see the sun beating down upon him in a cloudless sky. He sits up, sand sloughs off his shoulders. He looks around himself to see he's in a desert. It stretches as far as he can see. Looks to the right to see a tall man with blue hair looking down at him. He gets up. "Who are you?" he asks. "Who are you?" the man responds. "I don't remember who I am." Then does that girl have amnesia too? They look down to see a girl half buried in the sand. "Oi!" They turn her over, and in that moment, he recognizes her. Kaeru. But the blue-haired man recognizes her too. "Oh, Kaeru. Omoidashita." "I remembered," the first man says. "My name is Sakaido, the brilliant detective, me tante da."
So, me tante. Hello, by the way. I'm David Leon, and this is the Philosophical Storytime channel. A me tante, a brilliant detective. It's like Sherlock Holmes, or Poirot, or Father Brown, or Miss Marple. Right? It's a trope. It's a kind of character in a mystery story, a sort of mystery equivalent of a superhero. When you're in a story with a brilliant detective, you know they're going to solve the mystery. You know they're going to pick up the clues. It's not messy like the real world. Anyway, back to the story. So the red-haired man remembers who he is. "I am Sakaido, great detective." And then the blue-haired man continues.
"My name is Anaido. I'm also a me tante. I'm also a brilliant detective."
And then Sakaido remembers. "I'm in this world for a reason. I've got a mission. I've got a purpose. I got a job. There's a mystery to solve." And Aido asks, "Is yours the same as mine? To solve the mystery of Kairu's death, the black-haired girl?" And as luck would have it, it is. So Sakaido starts to examine her in the typical fashion of a great detective, with forensic care. He sees signs of dehydration, which progressed, figures out, okay, she died of organ failure. And then he notices she has a band of pale skin on her wrist. And he looks at his own wrists and finds the same. And Anaido too. Same band of white. As if a watch had been there and been taken away. And so they realize, someone must have come and taken them when we were unconscious. And they look to the right and see a trail leading away. So at this point, Sakaido realizes, wait, we have neither food nor water. And so Anaido says, aha, so that's why Kairu's body is here. He can survive by drinking her blood and eating her flesh. And Sakaido responds, mate, if you drink the blood, the salt concentration will be so high that processing will make you thirstier. And if you eat her flesh as well, that'll take too much energy to be worth the energy it'll give you. Are you sure you're a meitante? Are you sure you're a brilliant detective? So at this point, it becomes sort of clear that Sakaido is this competent star detective, and Anaido is just a bit weird, shall we say. So Sakaido says, okay, let's just prevent as much water loss as we can. So he takes off his clothes and starts pissing on them to soak them in urine. Because that'll be more efficient than the sustenance that you'll receive from drinking it, which will take you energy to process. And this way it'll help to prevent some of the water loss through the skin, to cool you down from the heats of the sun. So they don their garments, their piss-stained garments,
Poor Nado's like, this stinks. And off they go, following the footprints. So as they're walking, they hear the cry of a bird of prey. Sakado points up. And they see this great bird flying above them. And while he's distracted and looking upwards, Sakado falls, slips, and tumbles down a sand dune. And Aido follows him slowly. And when he gets to the bottom, it teases him. Which one of us is unsteady on his feet now? Sakado brushes him off, but then looks down to find, uh-oh, he's in quicksand, and he's sinking. Ah, shit! So he, strains to the left. He strains to the right. And at that point, Anaido chimes in. That's quicksand, he says. Don't panic. Stop struggling. If you thrash around, it'll only suck you in faster. And here I thought you were well versed in desert survival, but maybe it was just piss and blood that you knew about. And Sakado doesn't particularly like the comment, but still, he stops moving. And indeed, the rate at which he's being sucked in starts to slow. Anaido speaks up again. All hells are the same. The more you struggle to escape the pit, the stronger its hold becomes. But it takes time for hell to completely swallow someone up. During that time, you can just gradually crawl out. So Sakaido slowly stretches forward his right hand, slowly stretches forward his left, leans over so that his weight is on the quicksand, slowly pulls his right leg up, shimmies forward, pulls his left leg up, shimmies forward, props himself up on his left arm, pulls out his right leg, pulls out his left leg, and breathes. Looks back at Anaido. What do you know? He really is a meitante. He actually is a brilliant detective. Anaido smiles but responds, well, if I'm going to be honest with you, I don't know the first thing about quicksand. I just applied the general theory concerning hell. Lucky it worked out. Sakado smiles at him. Okashi yatsu da na. You're a strange one.
And that, as they say, was the beginning of a beautiful friendship. And that's the story. It comes from an anime called ID Invaded. And over the course of the rest of the episode, the partners in crime detection succeed in unraveling the mystery of the watch thief and the circumstances surrounding Kairu's death. And over the course of the show, of course, it becomes clear what the identities of these respective detectives truly are, the nature of the world, the worlds they find themselves in, and of course, tease out a few insights about the fundamental mystery of mind. So it's a pretty good show. This might be a slightly outdated reference, but it's similar to Inception, right? It's a mystery thriller set in the human subconscious, taking place half in the real world and half in the world of dreams. And I picked out the story in particular because of its charm, and of course its insight into some of the darker reaches of the human psyche, and therefore some of the darker reaches of this existence we find ourselves in. So the blue-haired man, an idol, ends up being a true great detective. He might not know much about the particulars of the situation they're in. He might not know much about desert survival. And he might entirely lack the polish that usually comes with being a great detective. Although, Sherlock Holmes was a massive drug addict, and Dupin was written by Edgar Allan Poe himself, right? So yeah, he truly was a real great detective. And yeah, he knew what counted. He knew how. So, the next time you find yourself being sucked into the pit of hell, I invite you to remember this story. The Sakaido in you, the sharp, polished, analytic one, will start to flounder. At that point, allow good old Anaido to remind you that's quicksand. Don't panic. Stop struggling. If you thrash around, it'll only suck you in faster. Remember the general theory of hell. The particulars don't matter. No matter where you find yourself, all hells are the same. The more you struggle to escape the pit, the stronger its hold becomes. But it takes time for the hell to swallow you up completely. And in that interval, you can slowly, gradually pull yourself out. And you can remember the image of Sakaido putting one hand forward and then the next, and leaning forward, and one leg up, and one leg up, and shimmy, shimmy, shimmy. Until you're out. So I hope that helps someone sometime, somehow. And in the meanwhile, God bless. See you for the next one.